let's get personal, or at least local. Like I'm sure many of you, I've started looking into purchasing locally when I can, small businesses, supporting my local economy. I mentioned that I'm in the United States. I'm located in the Northeast. I'm not going to narrow that down for you any more than that for stalking reasons, but I am in the Northeast. So I started to look at what perfumers were around my geographic area. I mean, you clicked on the thumbnail, so you probably know that I'm going to be reviewing two perfumers located in the Northeast. I was really interested in picking something that would speak to my experience of where I've lived, and also, again, supporting, I also picked female perfumers too, which was a positive for me. The two that I'm going to be reviewing are Bluehill Fragrances and Providence Perfume, both located in the Northeast United States. I'll provide some background on who they are, why I picked them, and then I will give a review of the samples that I purchased. And it is a review. I purchased these last week. I sprayed them, wore them, so I have some experience now with how they wore, what the dry down was like, and I'll talk about which ones, if any, I'll be purchasing full bottles of. So that's the general idea, the gist of what I did when I was going into it, and I'm going to go into them one by one. I should also mention too that the benefit of shopping locally was the quick ship times. Both of these samples that I was able to purchase, that sample packages, shipped same day, which was amazing. And they both came fairly quickly too. One came the next day, and then one came about 3 days later. So that's just some upside of shopping local as well. So I'm going to start with Bluehill. Bluehill Fragrance. So the perfumer here is Sandy Carr. She is from Rochester, New York originally, but also spent a lot of time in New England and has been very inspired by the scents of New England, which include like Boston, some city scents, and then also a lot around the seacoast. And I've been to Boston many, many times. I spent a lot of my teen and adult years there as well. And it's a great city with a lot of distinct smells. So that really struck my fancy. And then the seacoast too. There's a great seacoast along New England. Maine, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, all have a lot of distinct character to them too. So I was very excited to try her perfumes. And I got 4. So the 4, I didn't specifically select them. I just picked her sample pack. And the price for that was $15 for 4, which I thought was fantastic. And she also wrote me this little card that came with it. She wrote a personal note there with her Sandy Carr name and a thanks and enjoy, which I always appreciate that extra touch there. So the 4 that I got, if you're looking at the website, are Metrogarden, Zest, Beach Rose, and Back Bay. So I'm going to start with my favorite. So Metrogarden was my favorite. And as soon as I sprayed this one, I was with my husband, I sprayed it, and I was like, oh, smell me. And he's like, oh, what is it? And I explained that it's Metrogarden, which is described as framed by cast iron fences, sun-burnished brick pathways, and lyrical fountains, an ever-changing canvas of aromatic explosion offers refuge from an urban restlessness. And I think she really captured that vibe entirely, because I picked up like a leather note which I think is supposed to be like that wrought iron, gritty summer city feel is what it was going for. And then it kind of gets very floral. I did pull up the notes and there's no like leather listed in the notes. So, maybe I've got a weird nose, which how does that bode for my YouTube channel? But honestly, it's definitely some kind of city vibe. And this is the one I spray most readily and often. I really like it. It's very interesting, but also very wearable. I just keeps kind of going back to that summer piece, but it also has the pretty florals with it. It's probably, if I had to target a season for it, it's probably a spring floral type of scent. But the city vibe to it does with the little grit there, I think does make it a little bit more of an edgy wear. So it's not just a pretty floral scent. It projects well too, and it wears well. It really stuck with me throughout the day, and I could kind of keep smelling it, and it dries down to more of a floral. So Metrogarden, My favorite, this is the one I'm going to be purchasing a full bottle of for Bluehill. Which brings up number 2, which is Zest. So I wrote down my thoughts on all of these, and then I looked up the notes just to have a fresh experience with it. So this really reminded me of limoncello. So just to give you a breakdown of what it says here, it says, breathe deeply and inhale a revitalizing blend of bright, zesty citrus, a joyous cocktail of Italian bergamot, lime essence, sweet orange, fresh cut lemon, neroli, and tangy grapefruit. So with this one, I just dropped it, which is on brand for me. But with this one, it definitely does not smell, you definitely smell the lemon lime citrus, that's there. But unlike some other citrusy fragrances, it does not smell like something you could use to clean your toilet. None of that cleaning supply type of smell. It has a lot of, it's an interesting tang to it, I guess I would describe it. They do call it tangy, and I definitely picked that up. So I got a lot of the lemon. The lime was really interesting. And then I think it was the grapefruit that on me, it did smell a little bit like sweat, like a little bit of that BO but not bad smell. I thought it was cool. This one is probably not enough for me to pick it up for a full bottle, but it is something that I'm glad I have the sample if it didn't just roll out my front door. I'm glad I have a sample of, because I do see myself throwing this on before like a day at the beach or something like that, to really just kind of lean into that sunny day, I'm going to sweat anyway kind of vibe. I think it would smell really cool. I just thought this was interesting, but not like something I'd want a full bottle of. Okay. And that brings me to Beach Rose. All right, so Beach Rose, immediately very pretty and very warm. Like it feels like something has been touched by the sun, which was nice. So I just looking at my notes here. This one I was really entranced by the dry down. I had sprayed it on my elbow here. I remember it so well because it was distinct, and I kept, smelling it and smelling it because the dry down was just really pretty. And I wore it for before bed too, and I thought it was a very relaxing bed scent too. Because sometimes if you get, I don't know about you, but for me, if I spray something too strong before bed, it actually, interrupts my sleep. It keeps me up. But this was very relaxing. This reads that it's inspired by the heady aroma of the Eastern Coast, wildly blooming member of the Rose Dynasty, instantly transports one to a warm, sunny day at the beach. And I would agree with this. It's probably the second most wearable one. So if I hadn't been so attached to Metrogarden, this would probably be the one I would consider purchasing because it is so wearable, pretty, nice dry down. Which brings us to my last one, which is Back Bay. So for those of you who do know New England and do know Massachusetts, you probably have your own thoughts that immediately spring into your head when you hear Back Bay. It's a really active area of Boston. The breakdown here talks about elegant Victorian brownstones, burnished brick Edwardians, grass and leaves. So if you picture kind of like a fall in New England in a city setting, but also there's some flowers around too, because it has notes of iris, magnolia, hyacinth, and geranium as well. So it's got a similar description to Metrogarden. I did prefer Metrogarden, and I'll tell you why. This one is riskier. The original spray is pretty neat. I'm going to spray it now too, so maybe I can recapture the magic. My original thought was like, what is that? What? And I think it's the grass that I was picking up. So my husband did not like it. I had him, I'm like, ooh, Back Bay, because he spent a lot of time there, and I had him smell it too. And to him, he thought I was like, oh, it's like a swimming pool, which I didn't get the swimming pool. I got grass. I felt like maybe I was going to go to Fenway Park or something like that. And I'm walking through the city. And I'm going to go to a baseball game. So I did get a lot of the grass at first, and then I dried down into this woody scent that I was very drawn to, kept smelling. So if you're looking for something really unique, and especially if you're somebody that spends a lot of time in the Back Bay, I would recommend at least picking up a sample of this and giving it a shot, because it definitely might speak to some of your memories. You really might jive with it. So do recommend, but it's not the one that I will be purchasing, and that's going to be Metrogarden. So I mentioned that the price of these samples was $15 for the sample pack. That's a discovery set, they call it. Individual bottles are $95 for 50 milliliters. So, but for, local, they don't have the scale of economy and being able to kind of pump these things out. I think that's a pretty decent price for some really unique fragrances that also project well. I don't know if I said that for every single one of them, but they definitely do project well. They last, so they're not something that's just going to kind of disappear. So that is Bluehill. Link in the description. Okay. All right, and that brings us to Providence Perfumes. Providence is in Rhode Island, for those of you who are not familiar with this geographic area. The perfumer here is Charna Ethier, and she spent a lot of time in New England. She said the rural New England growing up, and that was her inspiration. This is a pretty well-recognized perfumery as well. So she had won the 2012 award for natural perfumes. She was also a Fifi Award nominee. So it's a pretty recognized house. She also focuses, I mentioned that they were the winner of the Natural Award, and that's because that's really their focus is on natural scents, natural fragrances, everything very pure and natural. So my husband has really bad allergies. So this is one that I would look to for possibly if I pick something up for him, I would probably look to something like this because it would be kinder probably on his senses and his skin. So with them, they didn't have a discovery pack. You could purchase individual samples, which is what I did. They are $10 a piece, which I thought was on the pricier end. But a lot of the ingredients that she uses in her perfumes are quite pricey. So she can't just be sending out these discovery packs probably willy-nilly. I paid for 3 that I selected. I was able to pick the ones I wanted. And then I received a bonus one. So I also got a free sample in with my purchased 3. So the first one is, I'm so excited to try this one. You can see this is Drunk on the Moon. It had a really cool description. It sounded really elaborate and complex and really cool. So on the initial spray, I got a lot of like mossy, earthy. I'm gonna spray it again too. Just so I smell crazy today. Let's see. And I think it's like I thought it was like a lemongrass when I first smelled it. I think maybe it's the peach because it's labeled as a boozy tuberose perfume, and it's definitely boozy. Like that's the vibe you get too. I'll cover my mouth when I talk. That's definitely the vibe you get too. Is like you'll pick up like the booziness. It definitely has an edge to it. And I kind of get this like lemongrass vibe and this earthiness vibe too with the booziness. It's really interesting, I would say. I think you really have to be in a mood for this, which I'm sure is what they're going for. It sounds like from the description too and the name, Drunk on the Moon, that they're definitely going for you got to be in the mood for it kind of thing. So I'm glad I have the sample. I'm going to probably reach for it here and there to see what mood I should be in to be wearing it and where it best fits. I'm glad I have this. I'm not ready to purchase a full bottle of this, but I am going to kind of just set it aside, see how it grows on me, if it grows on me. I don't have a lot of earthy, woody perfume, so this fills a little niche for me too. Okay. Love in a Mist is my next one. It's so hard to see on these little samples here, but this is Love in a Mist. So this one, I thought it was romantic. I thought it smelled a little bit like cologne, and honestly, my first note was, oh, actually this would be a really sexy cologne. I would love it on a man. And then I pulled up the description to remind myself what it was supposed to be, and it says, website says floral and feminine. I'm like, ooh, okay. Again, maybe I have a weird nose. Sorry, YouTube viewers who are trusting my opinion. But I did think it smelled a little bit masculine in a good way. The notes here are mimosa, pink peppercorn, and then the florals. The dry down was very pretty, but I still would pick up the cologne-ness to it. I'm gonna spray it. Something else to mention about these, and I noticed it most with the next one that I'll go through, Divine, but she notes it on the website as well. She uses all these natural fragrances, which means that sometimes they might come out like a natural color, so that could stain. So just be aware of that too. I'm wearing a nice dark shirt here. I'm not too worried about it, but you might want to keep that in mind if you spray these. It's very pretty, and I really like the dry down on this one. it is that floral feminine. It's more of a skin scent though, so it is something where I'd either kind of spray a lot of it or keep it for like a date, maybe like a picnic date, something like that, for just maybe one person to smell, because it is more of a skin scent than say Drunk on the Moon was. So that is Love in the Mist. And then Divine. This was an interesting one. So Divine, it came out, this one came out orange, as I mentioned, like the colors. So be careful where you spray it. This one is designed for the person who is always put together, kind of a goddess. Cool description. I was interested to try this. It is sweet and fruity, but not in the way that a lot of other perfumes are sweet and fruity, like not sugary whatsoever. It kind of reminded me of like a Smartie or a Sweet Tart. I like a candy in that way, like a powderiness to it, a little bit of a grit to it. And it has a lot of projection. So this one does project the best out of all the ones I've tried. The notes are orange blossom, neroli, and oak moss. And it really came on me as like, as I said, like a Sweet Tart, and I can keep smelling it. I sprayed it today too, a couple of hours ago, just to remind myself, and I can still smell it a little bit. It has like that sweet tartiness that comes with it. It's a cool one. It's something that I could see myself wearing. I think it would work well for a day to day. If you are kind of put together, you could wear this if you wanted something sweet and fruity, but not sweet and fruity for, you know, a young person. It's more mature than that. It's a cool one. And then I got I mentioned a free sample that I did not pick out specifically. This is their newest one, Irisque. And what they were going for here was a sexy iris scent here. So they kind of say like, hey, can an iris fragrance be sexy? Yes, it can. The notes here are orris butter, violet, and oud. To me, it's the initial burst was like a really great bath bomb. You throw in those relaxing, but like it has like a punch to it, bath bomb, like an immediate explosion of that smell. It was cool. I did like it. Sadly, with this one, I spilled it. Again, I'm klutzy. It has like a different cap than the rest of them, and I accidentally like yanked the whole cap off, and and I dripped. So I didn't get to try it as many times as I tried the other ones. So I can't speak to some more of the details. Like I only got to wear it one time. I did think it was pretty though. I wish I had I felt like a little drop left. So I should probably just like pour that out and give it one more try, because that's all I have left here. But this was a cool one too. So you'll notice I didn't say I ordered a full bottle of any of these. I think it's because I really want to give them, Providence, more time, particularly between probably Drunk on the Moon and Divine. I probably pick up one or the other. They're so different that I'm just not sure which one I want to pull the trigger on. I want to wear them both a little bit more and see how they go in maybe the fall, and then make a choice there. I liked them both. They're both really specific and interesting, so I'm just not ready to commit at this point. The prices, again, they're pricey. They're all natural ingredients. Particularly, they really call out this orris butter that they use in this Irisque as being a really expensive ingredient. So I suspect a lot of their ingredients are pricey, and their prices do reflect that. So a roller ball is $45, and I don't tend to get roller balls. I usually like sprays. So the sprays, which are 1.7 ounce, so a nice amount, are between $150 and $175, depending on the scent you pick. So a little pricey, but again, it is local, high quality ingredients, and they smell nice. These don't project or wear quite as well as Bluehill, but you can still smell them for sure, particularly Drunk on the Moon and Divine. Those did project pretty well. So that is my review of Bluehill and Providence Perfume. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you have a local place, even if it's not local to me, if you want me to shop local in your location and you've got a place that you'd like for me to try out, I absolutely will. I enjoy supporting local businesses. So please let me, send me a link or a name for someone local to you, and I will give them a review as well. If you like fragrance content, I've got a lot more videos lined up, reviews, blind buys, just general discussions of my collection. So a lot really lined up. Whenever it strikes my fancy, I will film. So if you like this content, Please subscribe to Second is the Best. And thank you for watching. See you in the next one.